Hey everybody, welcome back. So this is kind of a kickoff video that's going to be kind of focusing on one of the main premises of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so this is going to be kind of identifying the idea of, or redefining the idea of a resolution, and in hopes of kind of creating a resolution revolution. And so when we think of resolutions, obviously New Year's resolutions, and those are those desperate attempts to create change and do something different, shake off all the debauchery of the holiday season, which basically begins at Halloween and ends on New Year's Day. And we're fed up, not feeling good, and we decide to take on some type of health endeavor, right? Diet, exercise, whatever. But we know they don't work. And there's this whole idea that that's what you need to do, and New Year's resolutions, and the mob mentality because everybody else is doing it and I'm going to try it too. But to be honest with you, January is one of the worst times, especially in the northern hemisphere, to do something like that. To be honest with you, there's some studies that actually show that the best time to make a lifestyle change and to tackle something like that is actually around daylight savings, which at the timing of this recording is this coming weekend. The problem with January is that the nights are long, the days are short, sunlight is minimal, vitamin D levels are low, it's kind of gloomy. We don't necessarily have the bandwidth or the energy to take on something like a lifestyle change of that magnitude. And so if you are that A-type personality, you like to rip the Band-Aid off and go for it, you're much better off doing it in the spring, right around daylight savings in the springtime, because there's more sunlight, there's more daytime, the flowers are starting to bloom, so there's a little bit more energy in the nicer weather, a little bit more energy to kind of tackle these things, and maybe even a little bit more time from that perspective. So when we look at the idea of a resolution, and I looked up the definition of a resolution as it pertains to this endeavor, and I came across three. So a firm decision to do or not to do something, the quality of being determined or resolute, but the third one is the one I like the best, the act of finding an answer or solution to a conflict or a problem. Now, everybody's got something they wish was a little bit different in their life. Either it's health or performance, or they wish they could be better at something, or more artistic or creative. And so when we want to tackle something new, something that's unfamiliar, something that's awkward, it's really, really hard at first. And of course, the deeper you dive into that end of the pool, right, the more difficult and the more challenged it is to do it. And sometimes we find something that's really fun, or we're engaged with a group of people, and it makes the engagement more possible of actually happening and occurring. But when we take on something by ourselves, especially when it's something like diet and exercise, it can be really, really daunting, really challenging. So some of you might have heard of my idea. Actually, it wasn't my idea. I stole it from someone else. But this idea of not a New Year's resolution, but I was initially calling it a new month's resolution, but I've even turned it down into a new week's resolution, where if you think about it, there's 52 weeks in a year. You have 52 opportunities to try something new on a very small micro level. Because even if over the course of a year, maybe only 10 of them stick or 5 of them stick, you're going to change the trajectory of your life. And so from just examples, and I'm going to be coming up with lots of challenges throughout this process, but just as examples, when it comes to nutrition, it could be sugar related, it could be fried food related, it could be vegetable related, it could be getting in more protein, drinking more water, eating windows, all kinds of different things like that. When it comes to physical activity, it could just be 30-second plank. Exercise snacks, these little breaks that we take between the day where we might do only like 5 push-ups or something like that throughout the day, every hour or something. Going for a 15-minute walk in the morning and a 15-minute walk in the evening, and so on and so forth. And just creating a little bit of momentum towards something, creating a little bit of change. Because trying to take too big of a bite off of something and holding yourself accountable and looking for perfection is only going to lead you to, for most people, giving up, right? Something's going to, create a stumble in your life, and you're just not going to pick it back up. And so if we have this new week's resolution approach, every Sunday night you can think about Monday morning, okay, I'm going to give it another shot. And I'll just say this right now before I forget. If you want to make it more actionable, just don't think about it. Write it down. Write it into a journal. Write it into your Dayminder. Write it down somewhere. Tell your friend, tell a spouse, tell someone about it. Talk about it. Just don't think about it. Make it more actionable by using your words and by saying them aloud or writing them down. It will help you create that momentum. And again, not looking for perfection. Practice makes permanent. Practice, not perfect. And so if we can just pick one thing and try to be better at it and create our own revolution in creating change in our life. Examples around sleep would be consistent bedtime, a darker room, a pre-bedtime routine that's not focused around electronic devices or food and alcohol. Morning meditation. Waking up and working on some breathing exercises, or just sitting and using an app, a mindfulness or meditation app for just a few minutes each morning. There's thousands of ideas here, and I'm going to be trickling them out to you and challenging you on a weekly basis to try some of these things. Because if you want to be happier, be healthier, have more energy, if you want to fight metabolic disease, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative disease, even cancer, you name the disease, you name anything from that standpoint of whatever your challenge is. If you're an athlete and you want to be faster or stronger, if you want to become a writer or an artist, for me, I've picked up the guitar. I've tried to pick up the guitar probably 5 times over the past 7 or 8 years. Well, this year, it's finally stuck. I'm in my 3rd month. I practice every single day. And, this is a good example, actually, playing the guitar or trying to learn how to play the guitar, because I've been frustrated. I'm like, God, at 54, I'm just not getting any better. This is frustrating. My fingers hurt. Or how come I'm not just getting it? How come I'm not getting faster, or my notes aren't cleaner, or whatever it might be. If you play an instrument, you know what I'm talking about. But then all of a sudden, as long as you stick with it, like I woke up this morning and practiced some chords. I'm like, oh, I was just a little bit better. Maybe only 5 or 10%, but it was a little bit better. And so when you see this and you create an opportunity to be consistent, because that's the trick to having any type of success in anything. It's not how much, it's not how intense, it's consistency. So the 30 seconds every day of a breathing exercise is better than 15 minutes every other day kind of thing. Or doing something in small little bite sizes every single day is much better than doing it in one lump sum on the weekend. And so if we can just create consistency and resolve, right? So this resolution idea, write it down, create a mantra for yourself. Be kind to yourself and prove, just convince yourself that you're worth trying to improve and make yourself, really ultimately what this is about is happiness, right? Because if you're healthier, you're happier. If you're healthier, you have more energy. If you're healthier, you have probably better relationships, right? If you take care of yourself first, the world outside of you is much better, because you can't control what's out there, but you can have a better level of control of what's happening in here, especially up here. And if you can create some momentum, if you can have some success, again, try to stay away from the toxic idea of, instantaneous success through these magic items, losing 30 pounds in 30 days or six-pack abs in 6 weeks kind of mindset. Everybody's different. And, everybody's problems and everybody's challenges are different. And I don't have all the answers for you. But the thing is that there is an answer out there, and you have to discover it for yourself. Whatever dietary practice it might be, taking something away from, like if you have a sensitivity to gluten or to dairy or to certain things, you have to discover these things, and you have to take your time and practice. And, from that determination perspective, sometimes, when it comes to social environments, there could be some challenges there. And I recommend that you take a minimum of 30 days of discipline to work on yourself if there's something bigger out there that you're trying to accomplish. But you can do it. I've done it. And if you don't know my story, I've said it on a couple of other videos and certainly have written about it. But, everything that I've, accomplished in my life has been associated with lifestyle, right? Diet, nutrition and physical movement and focusing on sleep and my mindset and building more resilience in my life. And it takes work and it takes time. But it's real and it's lasting. And if you put in the time and the effort and you do the work, it's going to happen. Maybe not exactly how you might have imagined it will happen, but it'll happen. And so maybe we can try this whole resolution revolution idea, and maybe we can start taking small steps in creating change rather than these massive endeavors, right? If you decide to take on massive endeavors and you've found this to be challenging in the past, the best way to do them is to find a group of people or someone else to do it with. Not everybody has the bandwidth or the energy or the determination to do those types of things on their own. The only time I've really seen it being successful is like after someone has had a heart attack or a bout of cancer or lost a loved one. When life throws you a massive curveball and scares you to death to the point where like, oh, I got to do something different. That's when a lot of people wake up and create change. I'm hoping that we can not wait for that to happen in order to create change. And so by taking on this idea of a new week's resolution and taking on little challenges, you know where your weak points are and you know where your strong points are. And I'm going to be suggesting things to you and encouraging you and hopefully helping you along this idea of creating these micro shifts over time that will add up. Just like a financial investment, you don't just buy a lottery ticket to secure your financial future. You put a little bit away each week or each month, and over time it builds and compounding interest and momentum. And before you know it, you've got a little bit of wealth there. And if you can keep going, it just gets bigger and better. Same thing when it comes to health and wellness and these things that I talk about. But that's what I have for you today. Keep an eye out for these challenges that I'll be talking about. They're going to be specific, and you can either do them the way that I suggest it, or you can put your own spin on it, or you can come up with your own new week's resolution. And if you do, please make a comment, into the comment section down below. I would really appreciate to hear some feedback, and certainly the more you share your struggles and your challenges and your successes, you're going to be helping others as well. So the whole YouTube thing is, like, subscribe, share. Really appreciate you watching the video if you've made it this far, and I look forward to seeing you next time. So thanks and take care. Bye-bye.